Perhaps the most controversial news to ever grace the crypto industry has been Donald Trump's suggestion of starting a crypto reserve. And on just this news alone, Bitcoin created its first ever God candle where it went up over $10,000 in a single day. And then of course the very next day it had its first ever God candle in the opposite direction, erasing all of its gains from the previous day and then some, but that's besides the point. The purpose of today's video is to discuss whether or not the crypto reserve is good for the crypto space. On March 2nd, 2025, Donald Trump announced that he would be starting a crypto reserve including XRP, Solana, and Cardano. Immediately following that announcement, those three coins shot up between 25 and 50%. He then followed that up by saying Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other quote valuable cryptocurrencies will be at the heart of the reserve. I also love Bitcoin and Ethereum. These two tweets caused mass controversy around the crypto industry, with some of the biggest names voicing their opinion on the crypto reserve, most of them being super opposed to the fact that anything other than Bitcoin would be included. Brian Armstrong, Samson Mow, and the Winklevoss twins were all strongly against altcoins being in the strategic reserve. And just to show you how controversial this is, we even had Peter Schiff, who pretty much dedicated his life to hating on Bitcoin, come out and say that he understands the rationale for a Bitcoin reserve. He even says Bitcoin is digital gold. But even he has no idea why the hell XRP would be included in that reserve. He went from Bitcoin is a scam and nothing is better than physical gold to Bitcoin is digital gold and we should have a strategic reserve with Bitcoin in it. That's how much he hates XRP. But what surprised me even more than Peter Schiff's point of view is Michael Saylor. As you know, Michael Saylor is the biggest Bitcoin maxi probably in the entire world. You would think that he'd be pissed that altcoins were included in the strategic reserve, but this was his response.
I think there's no way to interpret this other than this is bullish for Bitcoin and is bullish for the entire U.S. crypto industry. You know, there are conservatives that view the right path forward as just a Bitcoin-only policy because Bitcoin is a commodity, an asset without an issue or a neutral asset, and there's no controversy. But the president's adopted a more liberal economic policy, and that's his right. He's president of the United States.
So yes, he is still a Bitcoin maxi, but he thinks no matter what's included in the Bitcoin reserve, it's going to be bullish for the crypto space as a whole in the long run, which I think we can all agree with. I mean, we all know that the United States has absolutely zero legislation when it comes to crypto, and in fact, the last administration was completely against the idea of having crypto in the country at all. Saylor does think that Bitcoin being a commodity would be the most useful thing to have in a strategic reserve, kind of like the United States strategic reserve in gold, but he does admit that having strategic reserves in other things could have a use case for the United States as well.
You know, I think if you're looking out over the next 100 years trying to figure out how do you capitalize a nation state or a country, what you want is a digital commodity. But if you have a sovereign wealth fund, then I think it's well within the rights of the leader of the nation to decide to put, you know, proprietary assets, securities, tokens, and the like into it. And of course, the decision will eventually be made through a fairly comprehensive political process over the next 6 months. We have till July 22nd when the digital assets framework and recommendations from the executive order are due on the president's desk. It should be interesting to watch what happens between now and then.
The United States does have strategic reserves in various assets like oil, helium, and rare minerals. Those reserves serve as a buffer against potential shortages, price spikes, or geopolitical tensions. The problem is the altcoins that were selected for the strategic reserve, they don't necessarily serve as a buffer against political shortages, price spikes, or geopolitical tensions. The altcoins in question, let's just call them what they are. They're shitcoins, most of which have little to no use case, little to no usage, inflationary, and most importantly, they're not decentralized. Take Ripple, for example. There's over 100 billion tokens in circulation, most of which are held by insiders, which means they can dump on you at any time, and yes, that's what they've been doing for the last 10 years. Then you have Cardano, which has approximately 25,000 daily active users, and its blockchain runs at about 0.35 transactions per second, not to mention it's about 70% off of its all-time high. Then you have Ethereum, which used to be the big dog in the crypto industry, but it's slowly becoming a shitcoin because pretty much every single metric has been steadily declining since 2021, including its price. The only altcoin out of these four that I would even consider for any kind of crypto reserve would be Solana. It has the most users and adoption by far. It does over 90% of all transactions across all blockchains. And unlike Cardano, XRP, or Ethereum, it can handle over 4,500 transactions per second. However, that doesn't change the fact that none of these blockchains are decentralized, which is arguably the entire point of having any kind of crypto reserve. That's why Bitcoin is the only crypto that fits the bill for a strategic reserve, because it's not controlled by anyone, no one can create more of it, and because of proof of work, it has the strongest computer network on the entire planet. So that's why I think any altcoins in a crypto reserve is an awful idea, and anyone who disagrees probably just wants their bags to be pumped. Now, don't get me wrong, I personally own Solana, so I wouldn't mind at all if Solana went to the moon. But the whole purpose of a strategic crypto reserve is so that no one can control it and no one can print more of it. That's the whole reason why fiat currency is going to zero in the first place. Let me know in the comments if you think a crypto strategic reserve is a good idea or a bad idea, and tell me why. In the meantime, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll be keeping you guys updated on anything crypto.